I am going to choose to change how I conduct myself in the wounded world. Hey, welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. Here is a place that I hope you find a voice of rationale and logic and solid reasoning on healing and why we should heal. Today I want to talk about the importance of healing and what I've kind of boiled down to the main core of why we need to go in and do that inner work to find out why we have these wounds, what we have to do to heal these wounds, and really dig in deep and step in and go through that fear of it. Because I would venture to say that many times we don't even admit that we have something we need to heal. And that's something deep in our psyche that's probably wrapped in fear of even stepping back into that memory or that territory of that feeling of unworthiness, of hurt, of pain, of suffering. But if we do not step through this gauntlet, we're not going to come out on the other side healed, which leads me to the reason of why we need to heal. Because we interact with other people and we have children. Boil down, our society is our interactions with other people. The future is our interactions with our children, what we teach them. And if we have these broken, wounded side or parts of ourselves that are interacting with people, or that are the pain and the wounds are covering up the best parts of ourselves, and we're hiding those best parts under all those scars and those scabs and the wounds, and we're not giving our best to other people, and they're getting shortchanged because we haven't gone in and done the inner work. Now, is it fair at all that we got wounded somewhere along the way and now it's our job to fix ourselves? No, it's not fair. Would it have been best that our parents had been just great people and had raised us in the best manner possible and that we are just solid, capable people? Yes, that would be great. But here we are at the precipice of change, of do I step back into my old ways of being wounded and interacting as a hurt person? Or do I step across here into new, uncomfortable territory where healing can take place? And it is not comfortable. It's not comfortable stepping in and saying, why am I afraid of more than 10 people? Why am I afraid of asking a woman on a date or to go get coffee? Why am I afraid to be vulnerable and show my emotions? This leads us down a path in our mind to these specific points in time that we got wounded, and we cover that stuff up. And when we answer those questions of, this is why this happened, it was painful, it was horrible, it was not my fault, and it covered up the joy that I could have and express to other people, this wounding did. Now that I'm going to look at this wounding and I'm going to address it, and a lot of times with addressing wounding, I think it is super valuable and almost, in my opinion, a pivotal point, or the fulcrum of it maybe, is to validate our emotions of when we were wounded and to tell ourselves genuinely, hey, it is okay that you were mad. It is okay that you were embarrassed and hurt and just deeply wounded, but it's not your fault. It's not your fault. These were other wounded people wounding you unintentionally. And here's where grace steps in. Grace is knowing that we are in, I almost said cesspool, but there it goes again, but it's not a cesspool. But we are in a herd of hurt, broken humans. And we are a learning species where we learn and adapt on a subconscious level and then conduct ourselves according to the way the environment has forced us to conduct ourselves. And that's programming. And I call it a character reel, gets programmed with this wounding from others. But then we have to create this bubble of separation from everybody and isolate ourselves in this manner of, I am going to choose to change how I conduct myself in the wounded world. And in doing that, it creates this buffer from your true self from being wounded again, but then you're able to deliver to these wounded people an unwounded version of yourself. What that does, it allows them to step into healing. Because when the wounding of others attacks us, and it's not what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about wounding people. They're doing what they've been trained to do. They don't eat as monkey see, monkey do. So they're stepping out in the world trained to wound and hurt and hurt and hurt. And a lot of times it's words. And so then it's like we hear and we're like, okay, let me hear on a deeper level. And what I mean by that is I'm going to realize that you probably are a great person in certain circumstances. And that you were a little child that was just full of joy. And somewhere along your life path, you got wounded and you were taught to conduct yourself in this manner. And now that I see in a deeper way of where your wounding and your actions are coming from in the way that you conduct yourself with me, I'm going to realize that you are not trying to wound me. And I'm going to step into grace and realize, like, you know what? I'm not going to lash back out. I'm not going to conduct myself in the old manner that I was trained to conduct myself in. Because I was trained to conduct myself in a wounding manner where I'm wounded. And so in certain situations, I act this way, which is wounding to others. And it's just this deep level of unknowing. I wanted to say ignorance, but that's kind of rude. So this deep level of unknowing that we don't even know that we are wounded and we are interacting in a wounded manner, wounding others. So when we step into the grace of, I know that you at the core do not want to be a mean person, but this is you protecting yourself, and you feel you must act this way to protect yourself because nobody else is. But if I'm out there receiving this, but not being wounded because I'm looking at it through the lens of grace, it frees that person up to analyze themselves and step into their own healing. Because if I respond to their actions with a response of, this is how I was trained to wound back, then I'm going to validate their position of needing to be protected, because then they realize, oh, they just act this way right back at me, and I still got to maintain this certain form of ego to protect my true self. So I'm doing others, or we are doing others a disservice when we respond in a defensive, attacking manner. Let them say their words and do their actions, and don't respond and look past their words, look past their eyes, and look at their soul, and know that there is a soul in there screaming to get out and to be themselves and to be loved and to love others. And you know, like those times in life where you meet somebody and it's like this bubble that the universe wrapped around you and this other person. And it's like the eyes connect, the souls connect, you get goosebumps, and it's just the most perfect conversation, and you get each other. And then it's like, that was an amazing experience. It lasted maybe an hour. But what if everybody could have that same experience of, I see your soul, you see my soul, and we are going to interact in a way that encourages each other and encourages us on our path and say words that are healing. And I will be the first to admit, this is hard for me. It is very hard when I sense and I know that these words are meant to frustrate and anger. I have to do what Alex Hormozy taught, and that's pretend that I'm a 90-year-old version of myself, and I step in and embody this body from the future of my older, wiser self, and how will I conduct myself? Like, it's like, I'm going to let this slide, Not that I'm the judge. None of us are the judge. But we're going to let this slide, just like, hey, I'm going to do my best to respond. Sometimes I don't need to respond. And this is developing our character to be passive. Not passive as in being run over, but passive as in I don't have to attack back with words every time. I don't have to know what somebody's trauma is and then say these words to stab at that trauma in a very subtle way. That's pretty evil. That's wrong. And that is not a trait that any of us should have in our character reel. And that's not a skill any of us should practice or get better at. But there are so many people that do that. They get better and better at the skills of stabbing at somebody's trauma to cause internal pain, to put words in their mind that bounce around for days and just tear somebody up at a soul level. So this is developing my character reel. And if in this season where I can conduct myself in a manner that is a healing manner, then the next season that this time comes around, it will be so much easier because it will be a programmed in response of love and kindness, and I want to connect with your soul. And then what I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'd say the top priority of this is our character improves to pass this on to the next generation, where we won't be raising children that are trained to go out and wound in the world. 12 minutes. I'm going to end it there. That's, I think, in my mind, I've been thinking about this for about a week. This is the core of the importance of healing. I might sneeze in a second, and if I do, I apologize. All right, I'm done with that. I'm not even going to edit that out because that would be pretentious in my mind. So, healing, interacting with other people, that is the reason that we need to heal, so we don't carry around this hurt version of ourselves that hurts others. But when we do that, we're allowed to unleash our happy, joyful side and not feel I need validation by being wounded, which is just crazy. Hey, I hope you found this video encouraging and insightful. I hope that you are having a wonderful day on whatever day you see this. If you like this video and you want to see more content about healing, because I'm going to have more videos, of course, about more techniques and mental techniques to heal and to navigate the world. If you like that, leave some comments below or subscribe or whatever all the best way is to end a video. I'm still not good at it, and I'm not going to script the ending because it seems very fake. So I'm just going to bumble my way through it. And that's all I got. Roadhouse, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm going to end the video now.